Hello everybody, and I am very proud to finally be able to present to you 3.0 in the glory that I've always wanted to show it off as. In-game footage running at well over 30 FPS, up to 60 actually, and plus at certain times. Now this right here, this whole act used to take me a grand total of 5 to 11 minutes in the past. This is just an incredible feeling. This is the way this game was meant to be showed off. Now, unfortunately, I'm gonna go here into the options. I gotta turn this music down just a little bit, because I don't want to be in competition with that the entire time. Speech, I'm gonna take speech down as well. Sound effects, put you about here. Music, yeah, that's a lot better. Okay. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, let's get down here. I'm going to take you guys on a really quick supply run. Hiya! Stairs are for chumps. Now, let's go over here and let's check the kiosk really quickly. I'm just checking on sell prices, or actually buy prices. Okay, location. And let's sort this by value. Okay, Laranite, 86. I like this a little better when it's about like 100, 112, but I'll deal with this for right now. And we have almost nothing in our wallets, and I will go into that later on. Now, for those who don't know, Port Olisar is the place where you're going to want to be selling your goods to. You're not going to really want to be buying from here too much. And that's not an absolute, but it is something to keep in mind for new players. Now, I've got a lot of ships in here that are loaner ships, and there's a weird bug in here right now where the ships that I've unlocked using rec points, I can... Your ship has been delivered to the following landing pad. Thank you very much. Like I was saying, the ships that I unlocked with rec points, I can play in the persistent universe, which is a little weird. I don't quite know if that's a bug or intended. I think it's actually a bug. Alright, let's get through here. And of course, for people who are just kind of starting out in the game, you realize that this door will automatically open for you sometimes, and sometimes you have to press the button to get it open. Well, that depends on whether it's pressurized or not. Excuse me, Mr. Door. And I believe it said 07, so I'm notorious for not really paying attention to that. And like I was saying before, I'm going to take you on a really quick cargo run using one of the standard ships. This is one of the starter ships. And mainly I'm doing this because I don't know what I'm going to run across. I don't know if I'm going to come across pirates, griefers, or nothing. And in case I do, I don't really lose too much. So, and that's going to be one of the secrets when you're going on cargo runs, is never spend all of your cash at one time, because if something goes wrong, you could get screwed really bad. And that's actually happened to me twice now. I've gone up to 100 grand, and I've also gone back to nothing. Welcome. In the course of one run.
All systems operational.
Excellent.
Launch complete.
Let's get out of here. Raise the landing gear.
At full strength.
Oh, cat. If it's anybody I know. Unfortunately, right now, if you target somebody, it also does a missile lock, and that can really freak some people out. It's freaked me out more than one occasion when someone was just trying to look to see what ship I was, and instead I thought I was under attack. Alright. So we're going to go to a very popular cargo run right now. That's over to Daymar. Okay, let's set that up, set that as our destination, and we're good to go. There it is.
Quantum travel engaged.
And this became like a really popular destination for people because it's a little bit of a milk run. You're not going to get rich off it, but it's a direct trek from Olisar to Daymar and back again. And we might even look out and have it... Did I say look out? We might even luck out and have it be on the same side of the planet, which we are not. If you look at all of these, if it's 300 kilometers or less, you're generally looking at it being on the same side of the planet as you, but 789, that is definitely on the other side of the planet. So we're going to have to hit one of these markers.
Quantum travel engaged.
And the OMs are orbital markers. These are waypoints set up around the points of the compass around a planet, or moon in this case, that allows you to get around it really quickly.
Quantum travel complete.
So we might even have to hit one more. Let's take a look. 680, yeah we are. We're still on the wrong side of the planet, so let's do one more.
Quantum travel engaged.
And always keep that number in mind, 680. If it doesn't go down, you overshot it, and you have to turn around and go back. Alright, so let's look at this now. What's our distance? 386, that's good. Now, the one thing I really hope they change in the future is being able to tell if your target basically is on your side of the planet or not. Because if you look at this, I think this is on our side of the terminus, but it could very easily be just on the other side of it. And ideally, I like to approach like this so I don't hit the atmosphere too soon. And one other thing too is if you hold shift down, you kind of overclock your thrusters and you'll go a lot faster than you normally would. But it's a lot like cruise control, where essentially it'll only maintain the speed as long as you also maintain a direct heading. So we're going to have a little bit of time before we reach our destination. I want to talk to you about a few things, including bugs. Now, there are a number of bugs in this system right now that I consider to be kind of game-breaking, and if you're not used to what's coming at you, it can really freak you out. And one of them is when you come out of quantum travel, sometimes your ship won't slow down. It'll keep going forward even if you take the thrust down to 0. And there's a really easy workaround for that. If that happens to you, go into decoupled mode immediately, and it'll stop it. Excuse me, I'm going to go back and edit that out. I'm still coming off of a really bad cold. I've been out of commission for a while, so I apologize for my voice and any coughs that I leave in here that I don't edit out later on. But like I was saying, going into decoupled mode will stop that immediately and return you back to normal. And for me, I have decoupled mode set to double tapping D, so it's really easy to get at. And then double tapping D again puts me back into coupled mode. So that's one really easy. And I encountered that bug maybe 3 or 4 times over the course of the last couple of days. So I would refer to it as infrequent, but it's something that if you play a lot, you are going to run across at one point. So keep that in mind. Another thing that's helped me out a lot is I have space brake mapped to my space car. My space key. I was trying to say space bar, and instead I said space car for some stupid reason. But yeah, the space bar. I find that to be really handy when you're using a fighter ship or a racing ship. And having that kind of quick access to it is very, very handy. So if you find that you are kind of going forward out of control, you can hit the space brake, and that'll stop you as well, but only temporarily. And one other bug that I've encountered, and I've seen this happen to a number of other people, is sometimes, like 1 out of 100 chance, when you spawn a ship, it'll spawn all foobar. Meaning if it's a bigger ship, it'll have no doors on it, it'll have no gangplank, and it'll have no functionality, and you can't get into it. And the same thing has happened to the smaller ships, the single pilot ships, where you go up to it and you just can't get in. And once again, I found a very easy fix, a very easy workaround for that problem. What you do is you go back into Alisar and just claim insurance on it. Because once that ship spawns all screwed up, it'll stay screwed up, and there's nothing you can do about it. And one other thing that I've noticed, which is really weird, is if you go into your Mobi-Glass and you look at the components on that ship, it'll have nothing. No weapons, no anything. So like I was saying, if you go in there and just claim insurance, it'll wipe that bad instance of that ship out of your inventory, and it'll replace it with another ship that should work. But if you just sit there and wait, that ship will stay foobar for almost forever. So those are 2 major things I've noticed people running across that have really kind of screwed them up. But there's really easy workarounds to getting around that problem, so you shouldn't let it really ruin your experience. And oh my god, I've been rattling on, but just look around us. Look at this. I've been forgetting to do this. My god. You know, I mean, this is amazing. Now, I talked about a couple of bugs that you might encounter that are kind of frequent that you could come across. And I also want to talk about performance. Now, oh, I think I just overshot. No, there it is. It's over here on the horizon. There we go. That's what happens when I'm not paying attention to where I'm going. Okay, so as far as performance, I want to talk about what my computer system was before and what I'm running right now, and talk about the difference in performance. Before I was running, it was essentially a Core i5, but it was a really early generation Core i5. And I was running a GTX 960 as a graphics card. And unfortunately, every time I would spawn into Alisar, it was a slideshow. I mean, it was really bad. It was not worth being able to show off footage-wise. And that's not the way I wanted to show the game off, because it really was my system, basically, that was performing bad. It's a low-end system. So I've upgraded. This is a Core i7. It's an 8th generation, and I'm running a GTX 1080 with 16 gigs of memory. And this is running like a dream. I've had no problems at all, no issues. It's been running incredibly smooth, and it's just been an incredibly enjoyable experience. So now, I was honestly going to recommend that people, if you had a Core i5, to hold off getting the system, or to hold off getting Star Citizen if you were interested in it, until they optimized it more. Now, that was my opinion until last night, where I saw a guy was doing a live cast of a system that had my old specs. The computer was exactly what my old computer was, and he was running it really decently. The only thing I could say is he probably had a later generation Core i5. He could not have been running it on like a second or third or fourth generation chip. Oh, it's getting dark. This is where it gets difficult. Hold on. It's a little more difficult to land at night, but it's not that incredibly bad. So let's see if I can speed up a little bit. We're still a little ways off. But there is just so much to take in this game. And right now, like I said, I'm going to give some general advice and just take you through a really common trading route. This is something that pretty much almost everybody knows about right now. The Kudra Ore Milk Run. And just recently I had a major setback where I lost 100,000 worth of cargo in one run, which put me back almost down to 0 for cash. So I'm starting over. But it's no big deal. I mean, that's the fun of this game. I mean, if there was no risk, it would be boring. And that's what I love about this. Like, I've done just trade routes, trade runs, over and over again for the last couple of days, and I am not even slightly sick of it. As a matter of fact, there's so much to learn about different trade routes, different places to go to, and this is just the basis of what I'm going to be showing you guys, which is you buy cheap and you sell it high. And of course that's, you know, duh. That's the basis of all trade. But you're going to have to go out to these outposts to be able to buy stuff cheap. And then you bring it back to major areas like Alisar, and they pay the most for it. So that's the basis of a lot of these runs. And it's going to get a lot more complicated from that. There's a lot more to it, but I'm not going to try and, like, just overwhelm you with information right off here from the start. But needless to say, I'm going to be doing a lot more runs. Okay, let's slow down here. We're getting really close. So generally what happens, I like to cut my thrust when I get to within meters distance of where we're going, and I just strafe the rest of the way in. Like, I have my W key set as my forward strafe. I just take over with that. And then when I get really, really close, I'm just going to get into decoupled mode and then just kind of work my way in. Now, it doesn't look like anybody else is around, and this is always the part of the journey that really makes my butt clench, because this is the most dangerous part right now. Now, you could encounter pirates while you're trying to quantum travel. That is a thing. You could encounter pirates while you're in the upper atmosphere, but this is where they're really dangerous. As a matter of fact, this is how I lost my cargo the last time. Someone snuck up onto my ship, wait until I got out of the, I almost called it a demilitarized zone, but out of the armistice zone, and they just shot me in the back of the head and took all my stuff. Which also shows you how being a pirate could be, you know, you could get nothing, or in one move you could go and earn 100 grand off of one jacking, so to speak. So, okay, let's go out here. Now, it looks like this is going to truly be a milk run. It looks like this is going to be a fairly safe experience. There's nobody here. I'm going into decoupled mode and landing. Let's line up nice and good. Yeah. Okay, that looks good. And normally what I like to do is I just turn my engines off. Flattens you out, stabilizes you. Let's get up. But my power's still on, which means my shields are still on. So some guy can't just come by, strafe my ship, and blow me up as I'm trying to leave, which is actually very important. Alright. And we're going to sneak in here. Now, because my cargo space is so limited, I'm going to be going for the most expensive thing that they have. Which I'll show you what that is in a minute here. We'll just run in here really quickly. Now this is going to be space dust. Oh, I got a cough. Hold on a second. Oh, my apologies. I'm trying to turn away from the mic when I do that. Give myself about 2 more days before I'm fully back up to my old self. Okay, so I'm buying. I chose the Mustang because it's my only ship that's in the area. And I'm going for Laramite. And I'm going to buy as much of this as I can. This is also a very popular commodity, only filling 1 SCU. Can you imagine that? Okay, purchase. Purchase this bad boy. I got it. And we got it. And you can see immediately it'll show you that transaction change in your wallet. Back down to 35 space bucks. So I better not foobar this. You can do missions right now. A lot of the missions are broken. I'm not going to lie to you about that. But the biggest thing about... Oh, nice. Okay. Looks like somebody got one of the comm relays on. So this is a safe zone now for me. So, but essentially the only thing I don't like about the missions is they don't pay jack. You need to do some serious grinding if you want to earn money doing missions. This right here, this is where the cash is. Because essentially if you do good, every time you do a mission, you can pretty much double your amount of money. Like your gross income.
Flare selected.
Why, thank you.
Selected. Engine systems disabled.
Nope.
Systems enabled.
That's right. God, you're a dumb AI. What am I paying you for? Landing gear deployed. Okay, that's better. That's the only weird thing about the Mustang is you can't just like look on the outside and realize whether or not you deployed your gear or not, because your gear is your wings. I really wish this was during the daytime, because this is a beautiful departure scene when you can see the environment behind you and just leaving the atmosphere. Man, I will tell you, I feel like I have done the cargo run thing 100 times and it never ceases to look beautiful. It is always looking just absolutely gorgeous. I love it. Yeah, for anybody out there who has that, oh, Star Citizen a scam, man, this is so not a scam. I play a lot of space sims, and so far this has not ceased to impress. And this is just the first iteration of cargo. I mean, they've got a long way to go before it's completely finished, and what they have already pales anything I play that has cargo hauling in it. Okay, so here's one other little tidbit I wanted to share with you, and let's see if I can find one right now. Let's see if I can find an orbital marker. This is kind of important. And I need to find one to demonstrate my point. Let's see. Well, let's get a little further away from the atmosphere first. Because one thing I've noticed is the orbital markers sometimes are very important to use to get around the planet and get back to Olisar, depending on which side of the planet you're on. And, hold on, let me check something really quickly. But normally when I'm leaving, I would instantly... I keep hitting F. Yeah, I'm still locked onto Daymar. Let's make sure this is still my position. Okay. Let's see if I can find one of those orbital markers. But if you take Daymar as being off, like the orbital markers will first of all won't appear until you get high enough in the atmosphere, and then they'll appear for you. And then secondly, if I change my destination from Daymar to Olisar, they'll also disappear. And then in order to get them to reappear again, you have to go back into your destination and then reacquire Daymar as your point of interest. And then they'll appear again. Alright, so let's speed up here. I'm high enough in the atmosphere where I can go a little bit faster than my normal speed. Exit? I don't think so. That would be a very, very bad idea. Let's see. I'm trying to spot one of those orbital markers for you to kind of prove my point. Yeah, see, we can't even see Crusader, which means we're on the other side of the planet. Which means we got to hit an orbital marker here if we want to get out of here in time. Okay, so let's turn a little left and right and see what we can see. Oh, there we go. There's Crusader. You might not need to do it after all. I'm going to go in here and just set port. Yeah, okay. Nice. I think we're going to be able to get right to there. Alright, let's see if we can jump. Now, unfortunately, I'm getting closer to the curve of the moon. I don't want to keep saying planet. I know that kind of that triggers some people when they're calling the moons planets, and I want to try not to fall into that pratfall. But I'm going closer to the surface of the moon because I'm heading closer to that curve. So I got to kind of watch that. And if I get too close, I'll hit the atmosphere again. And you can always tell when you're hitting the atmosphere, because see, right now 271, that's my max. And you have to get like a certain distance away from the atmosphere until you can start getting into the thousands again with your cruise speed. Okay, that's better. Oh, here we go. Olisar's blue. And we're ready to go back.
Quantum travel engaged.
Now, luckily, this whole trip has been extremely uneventful. We haven't even run across another person. Like, in quantum travel right here, you can get attacked. Like, that is actually a thing. That's happened to me twice already. Luckily, you're getting attacked by AI, and so, you know, AI is not exactly the most dangerous thing to come across. But if I was in a ship like this, I might be in trouble. Okay, here's one other thing I want to show you. Let's see. Okay, so I cut thrust. Nope, see, I'm not getting that bug. It's not pushing me forward. But here's one rookie mistake I want to show you guys. So when you come up to here, if you just land on one of these pads, you'll get a criminal rating. What you gotta do is go over to your menu, your comms, and, okay, let me turn the, there we go, turn the ship so you can see the icon a little better. And request a landing.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
Now when he tells you that you can land, you gotta drop your landing gear, otherwise you won't be able to see where they're trying to send you. That's a rookie mistake. I make it every now and again myself. No harm, no foul, but it's good to keep that in mind. If you're looking and you say like, oh, where? I can't see. I don't know where you're telling me to go. It means you didn't drop your landing gear. And I'm going to do the automatic landing.
Automated landing.
Because I will foobar this because I'm on camera, and I always will when I'm on camera. But we're back. We're back in one piece.
Launch complete.
No, just...
Landing complete.
Oh, for the love of God. Power off. Get your butt on the landing gear. Thank you. And I'm just gonna... I don't really need to do that, but... Let's get out of here. Let's go sell what we got. It's definitely not going to be a huge amount of cash to show off, but it's going to be walking around cash, and I'm gonna be building upon this. All right, and that's a milk run with a starter ship. Hopefully, a little tips that might help some people. I mean, a lot of people already know these things. Some people don't know these things. And I'm going to try and build upon what I'm showing and show more and more complicated stuff as the game progresses. What I also love is my org is being very active lately, so that means we have a lot more people online, a lot more stuff to do. Now, here, we're right back where we started. Over here with Mr. J. Crew from the neck down and Mr. T from the neck up. Yeah, I'm watching you. You have the cold, dead eyes of a serial killer. I don't trust you for a minute. Let's keep him in view at all times. Oh, that guy kind of creeps me out a little. Alright, so we come down to here. Now we're going to sell. Select the location. That ship we were just using. Now, here's our stuff. And we're going to sell all of it. And that's a clean 65 UEC in my pocket. Got it. Now, just to let you know, sometimes that's screwed up on me too. Like this whole thing where it'll come up literally as an error. And if that happens, just walk away and come back later. It will sort itself out. So that's our first successful trip. I'd like to thank you very much for sticking with me through this. And I'm going to be doing a lot more videos now. And hopefully I'm just going to be feeling better and better as the days progress. Once again, thank you very much for joining me. And I hope you'll join me again for the next video. Goodbye, everybody.